Vanessa Perkins, good morning on this lovely Friday for us when we're recording.
Good morning. I'm excited to chat with you.
Well, good. I think you and I have a lot to chat about, and I'm excited. And I will be really honest, I actually didn't disclose this to you previously, but I was a little trepidatious because I wanted to do this conversation justice.
Yeah.
I'd reached out to friends and coworkers looking for particularly a Black or a minority business owner, and a good friend of mine sent me your way. And
Yes.
yeah, go for it. I'd love for you to tell us about your business, what you do, all of that.
Okay. Yeah. So I am a professional freelance makeup artist. I have been freelancing for about 3 years now. I do a lot of bridal work, photo shoots, commercial work. So yeah, that's what I do.
Awesome. And the name of your business?
So it's called Everyday Glamourhood. It started because I'm also a mother. So the thought behind that was being glamorous and motherhood and all of that and trying to fit that into your everyday. And I kind of wanted to do sort of personal makeup tips, and then it morphed into my current business as a freelancer. So
Yeah. So talk to us about that. What the process was from you. What were you doing before this became your full-blown job? How did you step into that? What were the fears you had to overcome?
So I actually I went to school for public relations, and once I graduated, I got a job in marketing, and I did that for about 4 years. And I loved it, but after having my daughter, who was my second child, we decided we needed a change. I was kind of done with the corporate 9 to 5, having someone telling me what to do all the time. I was just kind of over it and decided that I was going to stay home with the kids. And so I did that for a bit and decided that that also wasn't completely for me. Stay-at-home moms, oh man, they deserve all the love.
Yes.
But I also wanted to have that flexibility to be at home and kind of set my own schedule. So I kind of got into makeup. I'd always been passionate about it. I'd always been pretty good at it, and decided to just kind of do it as a hobby, just on the side. And then I realized that there was a need and that I was good at it and people wanted to book me.
Right.
And
Not just good, but good enough for someone to hire you for that service. Yeah.
yeah. And then I, over time, decided, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is my business. And prior to COVID-19, I would say it was pretty full time. So, but still had that flexibility, but it's been really good.
Yeah. And so this is something that I haven't talked to anybody yet about, but something that we were kind of vacillating around in our conversation before jumping on, without saying these words, was imposter syndrome, right? That like you went from
Yes.
corporate, completely different sort of skill set or day-to-day rhythm. You switch that with motherhood or stay-at-home motherhood particularly.
Yeah.
And then switching it again, and how that can be really jarring to be like, am I worthy? Can I do
Yes.
this thing?
Yes.
And I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs do that. I mean, I don't know about a lot of people, I guess. I was about to say you or even our listeners. But as a woman in the corporate world, I feel like imposter syndrome is talked about a lot within that niche. But I feel like even more so with entrepreneurs.
Yeah. It's interesting because you bring that up, and I think about the first time I updated my bio on Instagram. You can put your title or what you do.
Yep.
And I remember switching it to professional makeup artist and thinking, oh my goodness, what is this going to be like? Are people going to message me and say, no, you're not? Um,
I'm calling you out.
yeah, we're so worried with what people think about us, but so it's hard. But I think you have to not be afraid to say what you are. If you're passionate about it, this is your business, this is what you do, own it. Nobody's going to call you out, and if they do, well, that's their problem. But if you have something of value to give and you are at a point where you are charging or whatever the case might be, then that's what you are. You are what you are doing, and own that title.
Right. And that goes such a long ways in terms of your interactions with your clients. That if you have any sort of hesitancy there, or if you're um, displaying any behaviors that coincide with imposter syndrome, then whether or not your words match that or not, they're going to take that and say, okay, maybe I do need to get another makeup artist, or maybe I do need to look at someone else. Maybe she's not as good as she says.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, people read your confidence in all aspects of life, right? And everything that you do, I feel like your confidence is what speaks to people. And especially as a new business owner, as someone that's taking on a new venture, confidence is key because they're going to see that you're new. But if you're confident about what you do and what you can provide, they don't care how long you've been doing it. They care that you know what you're doing and that you are good at what you're doing and that you can speak to what you are doing or offering.
Yeah. I think a lot of that too, and I'd love your take on this, like maybe how long it took you to get there, but as you're moving through, maybe there are stages of imposter syndrome, kind of like there is with grief,
Yes, yes. I can see that.
denial, anger. But there's also, there's once you're like really past the beginning stages, I think you can finally get to the point where you feel so confident that someone might ask for something, you're like, you might probe a little bit more, or knowing what you already know about them, you might be able to just come out flat and say, you know what, I don't think that's what you want. In fact, that's not what you want. Let's consider this. And it takes a
Yes.
while. I'd love to hear a little bit about your experience with that, like how you got there.
Yeah. So you're right. I think when I first started, I was so eager to just cater to everyone and also just wanting to take every opportunity, especially I would say like in the beauty industry in Utah and even with models and photographers. We're so eager to get that experience. And I remember I'd have people reach out to me all the time for, what they call collabs or collaborative opportunities. And you don't get paid for those. You're still providing that service. And the thought is, oh, you get pictures, you get practice, you get all of this. And in the beginning, I said yes to everything. Yes to things I probably shouldn't have said yes to. And also being able to, every makeup artist has their own style, and customers or clients want something in particular, and I would do it all. But I have my own personal style. And I remember in particular having um, this one client or potential client come to me and say, this is the look that I want. And I want this and this specifically. And that was the moment that I realized, but I don't want to do that look. And if I do that look for you, I don't think you're going to be happy. I don't think it's a reflection of my expertise. I don't think it's going to really bring out your features. I didn't say all that to her, but I just said, here's my Instagram. Take a look at my work. This is the kind of work that I do. If you're interested, I would love to work with you, but I don't know that I can do the exact style that you're wanting. And there was a lot of back and forth before I sent that message to her.
Yeah.
But you have to be true to yourself, and you have to own what you are good at and not be afraid to, I mean, that's why people are coming to you. You have that expertise. And if
Yeah.
something's not going to work for them, you need to be able to say that. And I think in the long run, people are going to appreciate that so much more.
Yeah. Well, and years ago, I had been introduced to this activity, concept, thought exercise, whatever you want to call it, that Warren Buffett is pretty famous for. And I think the story is told with his pilot, of course, because he has a private pilot,
I wish.
Warren Buffett. But he had him write down anything and everything he wanted to do with his life, everything that excited him. And then he said, okay, now that you've written that, and it's like 20, 30 things.
Yeah.
And it's not hard to do when you sit down. You're like, oh, this. And maybe they're not all professional things, but they're still things to do with your time.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, okay, I want you to circle your top 3. Okay, did that. And they said, next step is to avoid the rest like the plague, because they will distract you from being able to accomplish those things. And I feel like this same concept can be applied even within like a smaller focus, in the sense of like, you want to do this look, you know, if you focus on that aspect and really hone in your skills on these points of execution and skills, you'll develop and become, people get afraid of getting niche. Like it's
Yes.
going to shove out potential clients. But it's like, if you're not a specific offering, people don't really want general. They know what they're looking for.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Kind of how I was saying, I would say yes to everything. People would come to me for Halloween looks, and I don't do Halloween looks. I don't. I wish I could, but that's just not my expertise. I have a friend who's a makeup artist, and she rocks it, and that is her thing. And around Halloween, people know to go to her, and they go to her because she's good at that. And so you're totally right. I feel like you need to play up your strengths. What are you good at? If you're really good at glam, bold looks, then that is your thing. And people that want that will come to you. You will be happy because you get to do what you're good at, and they will be happy because you're really good at that.
Yeah. And it's like this really pleasant surprise, like, oh, there are actually this many people out there that want what I'm offering, even though
Yeah.
it's really specific. Yes.
Yeah.
Do not be
Yeah.
afraid to get specific with your offering. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Totally.
Um, I just got a notification, so we only have a few minutes left because I have a limited Zoom account.
Oh, yes.
Super annoying. But wanted to pivot rather largely here and talk about what advice you might have. So right now, we have more people than ever on unemployment. We know that COVID has hit minorities way harder than any other group.
Mm-hmm.
In the vein of entrepreneurship, you know, like, I'm hoping, and it's hard, especially if this has affected you this way and you're unemployed, you were shoved out the door of an organization, whatever. It's hard to see things optimistically and to think like, oh, I have an idea and I can start on my own and do something like Vanessa did, you know? But what advice do you have for minorities who might have an idea or might have a passion and think like, oh, I need to be my own boss. I can be my own boss.
Well, I think there is no time like the present, especially if you are unemployed or COVID has hit you hard. Now is the time to act. And it's okay to do it little by little. Like, I started it as a hobby and just doing it and saying, hey, like, I do this if anybody wants this. And so just don't be afraid to put yourself out there. It's so important to go after what you want. But I think people get discouraged because they think, oh, it's this big, huge thing and I have to do all these things. But just start little. If you want to start selling blankets, I don't know, that's just a random example, but then just hit up Facebook Marketplace, show what you can do. And eventually it grows as long as you keep investing time and effort into it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is amazing how many tools we do have at at our disposal right now that break down that barrier to entry, so that literally anybody doing anything can start, and they can start small
Yeah.
things, or they can go out at gung-ho and
Yeah,
build
totally.
a Squarespace website and set up a e-commerce, like um yeah, I keep on saying it over and over again, but I kind of want to see 5 years from now what the next Airbnb or the next whatever Uber that comes out
Yeah.
of this crisis we're going through right now.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
it'll be even really cool to see how we end up getting a much diverse range of products or services, because so much is happening online that we don't have to go through our traditional methods to get an idea out there.
Yeah, completely. I'm excited to see it too. I think it's going to be good. I mean, people that I follow have started, taking the time that they're not working and trying different things. And I think it's going to be good.
Yeah. All right. So with that, I would love to hear your 3 takeaways.
Okay. So we kind of touched on this already, but I think it's important to just not be afraid to put yourself out there. It's it's okay to reach out to people. It's okay to say, "Hey, I'm a makeup artist. Hey, I do this." I think we get afraid of what people are going to think, what they're going to say, kind of how we talked about imposter syndrome. But if you don't put yourself out there, you're not going to succeed. You're not going to be able to move forward.
Yeah. My
Um,
husband and I always joke, like when we go for a run or a bike ride or whatever, we're like, well, at least we're not on the couch.
exactly, exactly. Any progress is progress. So, and then along those lines, I think my second takeaway would be to know your worth. Um, Me as a makeup artist, it's something, I'll be honest, I still struggle with, but I set my own prices for my services. And especially in the beginning, you're so eager for clients and for customers that you tend to undercharge for your services or your products, because you just want people to come to you. But it's important to understand your value. It's okay that you're new. If you're good at what you do, you're good, and that's what people are paying for. So it's important to kind of see what the industry standard is for whatever it is that you're doing, and make sure that you set that price or that price range. And when people come to you, even if they try to haggle, you got to stick to your guns. Stick to what you are worth.
Yeah, well, and if you haggle too much and discount, like you look at, you do the quick calculation at like, okay, what is the actual percentage discount I'm giving them? If it's anything more than like 20%, it's an immediate signal that says that you yourself don't value your product or your service.
That, yeah, completely. I had a fellow makeup artist tell me, decide what you want to make an hour, and that's what you charge. So start there. And that includes travel and there and back, and then the time for your service. So how long is it going to take you? How much do you want to make an hour? So I've kind of used that as a guide a little bit.
Yeah. And then your last one?
Yes, sorry. So I think my last one is going to touch a little bit on the current uh,
Climate.
events. Yes, the current climate. Thank you. But be ahead of the trend, or not even trend, but see what the need is in your industry and act on it. Don't wait till somebody else does it. So in this particular example, I've loved seeing all of the diversity on my Instagram and my Facebook from, all these different companies, both local and national and international. Um, but if you scroll a little past the recent days, that's not how it was. So I'm glad that people are recognizing the need for it. But just making sure that you're always seeing the need there. making sure that you are always representing different ethnicities, different backgrounds, and not waiting until somebody else does it or until something in the world happens that calls for it.
Yeah.
Um,
Being
yeah,
proactive.
exactly. I had this conversation with my husband last night. Everything now is very reactive. We're reacting to what's happening, and I'm glad because it's what needs to happen. But let's move forward with it and continue that and turn it into proactivity and um, making sure that that's just the standard moving forward.
Yeah, thinking
So
ahead. Don't do it because someone else is doing it. Just try to think like, what's the next best thing?
yeah, look at your product offering. Are you hitting all the notes? Do you feel like you are being able to cater to the different needs out there for all people and not just this small group of people? And oh, these colors, if we're talking about makeup, oh, these colors are going to work for them, but are they going to work for everybody?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, thanks so much, Vanessa. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's been fun. I Yeah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.